Good morning, students. Hope all of you are fine. Beta, today we will revise chapter 1, and name of this chapter is Bricks, Beads and Bones. This chapter is related to the Harappa civilization. As you can see this first image, that is of a Harappa seal. So the Harappan seal, it is the most important artifact of the Harappa or the Indus Valley civilization. This seal is made of a stone called steatite, and seals like this one, it contain animal motifs and signs from a script. And even if we see that it is a great deal about the lives of the people who lived in the region, and like they left behind their houses, pots, ornaments, tools and seals, and all these are created the archaeological evidence about the Harappa civilization. So, and one more thing, the Indus Valley civilization, it is also called the Harappan culture. So why do archaeologists use the term culture? It is used for a group of objects those are distinctive in style and usually found together within a specific geographical area or over a period of time. And all these objects like seals, beads, weights, stone blades, and even the baked bricks, these objects were found from areas as Afghanistan, Jammu, Baluchistan, and Gujarat. Now, the first topic of this chapter is beginnings. There were several archaeological cultures in the region prior to the mature Harappa, and these cultures were associated with distinctive pottery, evidence of agriculture and pastoralism, and some crafts were also found. Settlements were generally small, no large buildings were found. So, what was their subsistence strategies? How do these people live? So, mature Harappa culture developed in some of the areas occupied by the early Harappan cultures. The Harappans ate a wide range of plant and animal products, including fish, because the evidences were found related to these animal products and plant. Archaeologists have been able to reconstruct dietary practices from finds of grains and seeds, means whatever evidences, whatever seeds are found from these sites. On the basis of these archaeobotanists, they are specialists in the ancient plant remains. They just found about that, and they reconstruct the dietary practices of Harappa culture. Grains found in Harappan site, these include wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea and sesame. Millets are found from the sites of Gujarat, and finding of rice, those were relatively rare. And animal bones were also found, those of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo and pig. And about this animal, this study was done by archaeozoologist, or we call it the zoo archaeologist also. And according to them, these animals were domesticated. Bones of wild species such as boar, deer, gharial were also found, but we don't know about that these animals, they were hunted by these Harappan people or by the other hunting communities. Now the next subtopic is about the agriculture technologies. Like we know that the agriculture was prevalent because the grains were found, but it is more difficult to reconstruct actual agricultural practices. So, but the representation on seals and terracotta sculpture indicate that the bull was known, and the archaeological, they extrapolate from this that oxen were used for plowing. Moreover, terracotta models of the plough have been found at sites in Cholistan and Banavli. So, sometime beta these type of question can also be asked, that from which site the models of the plough have been found. So, the answer will be Cholistan and Banavli. Archaeologists have also found evidence of a plowed field at Kalibanga, Rajasthan. This field had two sets of furrows at right angles, and it suggests that two different crops were grown because this field was divided in two parts. Archaeologists, they have tried to identify tools used for harvesting, and most Harappan sites, these are located in semi-arid lands where irrigation was probably required for agriculture. And even traces of canals have been found at the Harappan site of Shotughai in Afghanistan, but not in Punjab or Sindh. So it is possible that canals silted up long ago. It is also that water drawn from wells was used for irrigation. So all these are just the imagination of the historians. It is their perception. Besides, water reservoirs found in Dholavira may have been used to store water for agriculture. बेटा अब यहाँ से देखो ऐसे करके हाँ so many questions can be framed like from where the water reservoir was found. So your answer will be Dholavira, right? Now the next topic is that this is about the Mohenjo-daro, a planned urban center. The most unique feature of the Harappan civilization was the development of urban centers. If we look at such center, Mohenjo-daro is the most well-known site. The first site to be discovered was Harappa. The settlement is divided into two sections. One was smaller but higher, and the other was larger but lower. Means this site is divided in two parts. One is higher and one is lower. And archaeologists designate these as the citadel. The higher part is known as the citadel and the lower town respectively. The citadel, it's high to the fact that buildings were constructed on mud brick platforms and it was walled, which meant that it was physically separated from the lower town. The lower town was also walled. Several buildings were built on platforms which served as foundations. It has been calculated that 4 million person days required for making all these platforms. It means there was a mobilizing labor on a very large scale. Once the platform were in place, all building activity within the city was restricted to a fixed area on the platform. So by seeing all these, that all the buildings those were constructed on the platform, it just shows that the settlement was first planned and then implemented accordingly. Other signs of planning include bricks which, whether sun-dried or baked, were of a standardized ratio, where the length and breadth were 4 times and twice the height respectively. It means there was a specification for the brick size also. And such bricks were used at all Harappa settlements. And after that drain system was also found. One of the most distinctive feature of Harappa cities was the carefully planned drainage system. If you look at the plan of the lower town, you will notice that roads and streets were laid out along an approximate grid pattern. And it seems that streets with drains were laid out first and then houses built along them. And domestic wastewater had to flow into the street drains. Every house needed to have at least one wall along a street. So this way they planned about the drains also. Now the other topic is about the domestic architecture. The lower town at Mohenjo-daro, it provides example of residential buildings. Many were centered on a courtyard with rooms on all sides. The courtyard hota hai like open place beta, veranda. The courtyard was probably the center of activities such as cooking and weaving during hot and dry weather. There is very specific feature, and that is there are no windows in the walls. along the ground level. Beside the main entrance doesn't give a direct view of the interior or the courtyard. Means from the main entrance we cannot see the interior of the house. It means they were concerned about the privacy. Every house had its own bathroom, paved with bricks, with drains connected through the wall to the street drains. Some houses have remains of staircase to reach a second story or the roof. And even many houses they had wells also, often in a room that could be reached from the outside, perhaps used by the passers-by. So these scholars have estimated that the total number of wells in Mohenjo-daro was about 700 because so many evidences were found regarding this. So this was about the lower side of the Mohenjo-daro, the domestic architecture. As we know, the highest portion of this site, it is known as the citadel. It is on the citadel that we find evidence of structure that were used for the special public purposes. These include the warehouse. It was a massive structure of which the lower brick portion remained, while the upper portion, probably it was made up of wood, so it decayed long ago. And the great bath also. The great bath was a large rectangular tank in a courtyard surrounded by a corridor on all four sides. There were two flights of steps on the north and south leading into the tank, which was made watertight by setting bricks on edges and using a mortar of gypsum. So there were rooms on three sides, in one of which was a large well. Water from the tank flowed into a huge drain. So this was the proper system of a great bath. Across a lane to the north lay a smaller building with 8 bathrooms, 4 on each side of a corridor, which drains from each bathroom connecting to a drain which ran along the corridor. The uniqueness of the structure as well as the context in which it was found has led scholars to suggest that it was meant for some kind of a special ritual bath, because this type of large, that great bath area, that is meant for some religious purposes. So beta, this was the topic about the revision of this chapter, bricks, beads and bone. Hope all of you have understood the topic. Thank you and have a nice day.